In this video, we're going to graph the equation y equals ax squared plus bx plus c. So to graph a parabola whose equation is in this form, we've seen that we know, so last time we graphed equations of the form y equals a times x minus h quantity squared plus k, and we saw that the vertex is at h comma k, and the axis of symmetry is the line x equals h. Okay, and this time what we want to graph is when you have an equation of the form y equals ax squared plus bx plus c. So the idea is to rewrite this in the form y equals a times x minus h squared plus k. And to do that, we use the method of completing the square. So here's an example. Find the vertex and axis of symmetry of the parabola y equals x squared plus 2x minus 3. Okay, so we have y equals x squared plus 2x minus 3. Now hopefully you remember how to complete the square with this using the quadratic, how to complete the square when we talked about using the quadratic formula. Now what we're doing, we're not solving anything, right? The question is to find the vertex and axis of symmetry. But we can still use the same technique, and what we'll do is we'll add 3 to both sides. So remember, what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to get something in the form x squared plus a constant times x. So I can do that if I add 3 to both sides. Now I can complete the square. Because what do? I take half of the coefficient of x and then square it. Well, 2 divided by 2 is 1. 1 squared is 1. So you add 1 to both sides. And so that will give me y plus 4 equals, and then how do I factor x squared plus 2x plus 1? That factors as x plus 1 in parentheses squared. Now we just have to subtract 4 on both sides to get y by itself. So now we have an equation of the form y equals a times x minus h squared plus k, and now we can read off what the vertex is. So what's the vertex? The vertex is negative 1 comma 4. Negative 1 comma negative 4. Sorry. And what's the axis of symmetry? X equals negative 1, right? It's the line that, it's the vertical line that passes through, oops, what did I do? It's the vertical line that passes through the vertex. Sorry, what I'm trying to do is erase. Okay. And a is, what's the a? The coefficient of x squared? It's 1, right? Because I have a 1 times x plus 1 squared minus 4. So what that looks like is, let's see, the vertex is negative 1, negative 4. So I know it's going up, so it's going to look something like this. And it's congruent to y equals x squared, right? It's just you take y equals x squared, and then you shift 1 to the left, and then you shift 4 units down. Okay. So the vertex is a minimum point, as we've seen. It might also help to make a more accurate graph to plug in x equals 0. So the y-intercept is what you get when you plug in x equals 0, right? So you are going to get y equals 0 plus 1 squared minus 4, and that's negative 3. So the graph passes through the point 0, negative 3. That might make your graph a bit more accurate. Okay. So let's do another example. Find the vertex and the axis of symmetry and the y-intercept of y equals 2x squared plus 8x plus 1. 2x squared minus 8x plus 1. Well, we pretty much do the same thing as before. The only difference is we have a constant in front of the 2x, constant in front of x squared, but that's not a big deal. We just divide both sides by 2, and then that will get rid of it. So let's subtract 1 on both sides. And then I'm going to divide by 2. So I get x squared minus 4x. Remember, I'm dividing by 2 because now I have something where I can complete the square. I have something that is x squared plus a constant times x. Okay, so now we're ready to do the complete the square part. So what do we do to both sides? We add 4. Because you take negative 4, divide by 2, it's negative 2, and then you square negative 2, you get 4. Now we are ready to factor the right-hand side. So let's see, we could combine the fractions to get y minus 2 over 2 plus 8 over 2. So that's y plus 7 over 2. Okay, I'll just do it on the next step. So this is x minus 2 in parentheses squared. Then I can multiply both sides by 2, because now I'm trying to solve for y, right? So I multiply both sides by 2, I get y minus 1 plus 8, that's y plus 7, equals 2 times x minus 2 in parentheses squared. And now the last step is to just subtract 7 on both sides, and you get this. Again, in the form a times x minus h squared plus k. So my vertex, what's my vertex? 2 comma negative, no, it's, it's 2 comma negative 7, right? Because this is 2 times x minus 2 squared plus negative 7. So my h is 2 and my k is negative 7. Remember, when I plug in the x coordinate of the vertex, I should get 0 in the square. I should get 0 squared. Okay, so the vertex is 2, negative 7, and the axis of symmetry is x equals 2, and the y-intercept. Now I could plug in 0 into this equation, but it's actually easier to just plug in 0 into this equation, because then I can see right away I get 1. So the y-intercept is 1. Now, depending on the book, the y-intercept might mean the actual point on the graph. And in that case, it would be 0, 1. So depending on what the book is, it's either 1 or 0, 1, the point 0, 1. It's not really a big deal because we know that the y-intercept is when x is 0. So even if you say that the y-intercept is 1, we know that x is 0. Okay, but some people are just picky about that. Okay, so we can the problem didn't say to sketch a graph, but let's just sketch a graph anyway. So the y-intercept is at 1, and then you have an axis of symmetry at 2. Okay, and this is congruent. This parabola is congruent to y equals 2x squared. So it doesn't look like x squared, it looks like 2x squared. And it goes through the point 2, -7. And this point is 1. So it's going to look something like that. Now that we've seen some examples, let's see the general equation for the vertex. So let's start with the general form y equals ax squared plus bx plus c, where of course a is not equal to 0. And what we're going to do is we're going to find the vertex and the axis of symmetry. So in the two examples we've done, these were special cases, right, with a specific a, b, and c. Now we're just going to work with general numbers a, b, and c. Well, we've gone over the steps. You just do the same steps. You just don't know what the numbers a and b are, but you do exactly the same method. So we'll subtract c on both sides, and then we'll divide both sides by a. Okay. So that leaves us with y minus c over a equals x squared plus b over ax. And now we complete the square. What are we going to add to both sides? We're going to add b squared over 4a squared. Because we take half of b over a, that's b over 2a, and then we square it, that's b squared over 4a squared. So do ba over 2 is b over 2a, and then when you square it, you get b squared over 4a squared. And now I can factor this as x plus b over 2a squared. Now I'm solving for y, so I'm going to do what? Multiply both sides by a, so I'm going to get a times x plus b over 2a quantity squared. And now the last step is easy. You just add c to both sides. Oops, I forgot to, when I added b squared over 4a squared, I forgot to add it to the other side. Oopsie. So y minus c over a plus b squared over 4a squared. Okay, so this step, I need to change to y minus c over a equals x plus b over 2a squared minus b squared over 4a squared. Now we multiply both sides by a, so y minus c equals a times x plus b over 2a squared minus b squared over 4a. Remember, I need to distribute the a across. And now I add c to both sides. So now I have an equation in the form that we want. And from this, we can read off, the equation of the axis of symmetry. The equation of the axis of symmetry is what? X equals negative b over 2a. Because remember, we have the form a times x minus h squared plus k. So my h is negative b over 2a. And my k, so my vertex is negative b over 2a, comma, negative b squared over 4a plus c. In practice, it's usually easier to just remember the x-coordinate of the vertex. Then once you find the x-coordinate of the vertex, just plug it into the original equation to find the vertex. So let's apply this formula to an example. Find the axis of symmetry and the coordinates of a vertex of the parabola y equals 3x squared minus 9x plus 5. Well, our A is 3, our B is -9, and our C is 5. So the axis of symmetry, we use the formula x equals -b over 2a. So that's -9 over 2 times 3, which is 9 over 6, so that's 3 over 2. So the equation of the axis of symmetry is x equals 3 over 2. Then for the vertex, we know that x coordinate is 3 over 2, and now we just plug it into the equation. So the x coordinate of the vertex is 3 over 2, and now we plug it into the equation to figure out what the y coordinate is. 3 times 3 over 2 squared minus 9 times 3 over 2 plus 5. That's 3 times 9/4 minus 27 over 2 plus 5. Okay, 27 over 4 minus 54 over 4 plus 20 over 4. That gives us -7 over 4. So the vertex is 3/2, -7/4.